So here we are one more time for the conclusion of my King of Trios 2014 recap. As you can hear, my voice is going a little bit. I'm going to try to keep this short. I don't have any more merch to talk about because I started to run out of cash, and I didn't want to spend too much on my credit card. So we opened the show with the semifinals, and to my surprise, we actually got a different combination in King of Trios in the semifinals than I thought. We started with the Golden Trio versus the Flood Elite, and the Flood came out with Snow Troll still chained up. He got recaptured after last night. They chained him up to the ring post, and it was a all it was it went they went back at it very very hard. Uh, but eventually Icarus managed to get Volgar into the Chikara special, and so the Golden Trio advances to the finals. After the match, the Snow Troll got in the ring and begged Icarus to unchain him. Icarus did so, and then the Snow Troll gave him a low blow. Flood lays out the Golden Trio, and the Snow Troll got rechained willingly by the Flood. So then that prompted a Stockholm Syndrome chant from the crowd. So either the Snow Troll is suffering from Stockholm syndrome, or there's the Eye of Tyr to take into consideration because of what Jakob said about him being in the monster wrangling business. But we'll see where it goes from there. And then the other semifinal match was the Devastation Corporation against 3-Pek-O. And 3-Pek-O, they came out in face paint. They painted up their faces because they were going up against the Devastation Corporation, and of course, uh, Devastation Corporation and Sidney Bacabella were furious that they were stealing their gimmick. They went at it for a while. Eventually, 3-Pek-O got in a triple Boston Crab on all three members of Devastation Corporation, but Bacabella pulled Bryce out of the ring. And eventually, Jagged ate the death blow to give Devastation Corporation the berth in the finals. So that is the final of King of Trios: Devastation Corporation versus the Golden Trio. Then we had the non-tournament match, a singles match between Sir Oliver Grimsley from the Auditorium against Mark Andrews from Team UK. There was no sign of Kizarni or Kefka the Quiet, no sign of the rest of Team UK, just a singles match between the two of them. Some pretty decent back and forth. Mark Andrews kicked out of Grimsley's finisher, the Bed of Nails, butterfly backstabber move, which looks sick. But Andrews kicked out of it, and eventually he won with the Shooting Star Press. Then we had the Tag Team Gauntlet, and they said that they didn't know how many teams there were going to be, but eventually it ended up being 10. So that meant the maximum number of points a team could acquire in the gauntlet would be 9. We opened with Los Ice Creams taking on Old Fashioned, Jervis Cottonbelly, and Marion Fontaine. And there were a lot of comedy antics involved surrounding Old Fashioned's uh, tendency to play by the rules and be gentlemanly and everything, and Los Ice Creams wanting to cheat and otherwise be sneaky guys. And Ice Cream Jr. pulled out a bag of sprinkles, just ordinary, sprinkles that you would put on ice cream. In Chikara, though, those are treated as like bringing out thumbtacks, so it's like a horrible thing. He pours out some sprinkles, and while he's busy trying to get uh, Jervis set up for a move, Marion Fontaine gets in the ring with a push broom and sweeps up the sprinkles. And then Junior turns around, sees there's no sprinkles, so he pours out some more. And then he gets distracted setting up Fontaine for a move, allowing Jervis to get in with a dustpan and a hand brush and just sweep up those sprinkles. And then they poured out more sprinkles, and this time Jervis went to the back and came out with a vacuum cleaner. But while they were busy with that allowed Hijo del Ice Cream to roll up Fontaine to get the first fall. Then we had the rookie team NRG, Hype Rockwell and Race Jackson as team number 3, and it was a quick little match. Eventually, Hype caught Iho with a wind up backbreaker, sets him up in a crossbody, spins him out into a side backbreaker, and that gave them the pinfall. The next team was the Colony Extreme Force, Arctic Rescue Ant, and Missile Assault Ant. Missile Assault Ant is becoming popular for a heel. His Missile Assault Ant thing gets people yelling it along with him. Missile Assault Ant ended up catching hype with a rolling Northern Lights suplex combination for the win. The next team was the Batiri. They came out fighting. They went back and forth at it for a while before Oberian caught Missile Assault Ant with the flying DDT. So the Batiri eliminated the Extreme Force. Then the Osirian Portal came out, and they ended up becoming the team to beat. They beat the Batiri with the Osirian Sacrament. Then the next team was the Block Party, Prakash Sabar and the Proletariat Boar. And Ophidian, during that match, Amasis seemed to get injured. It looked like his neck. He had some trouble getting back to his feet at that point, and Ophidian ended up doing the bulk of the work in the match. He dodged the Boar Gore, and Sabar ended up catching it, allowing Ophidian to lock the death grip on Sabar for the tap out win. Then we had the Colony, Silver Ant, Worker Ant come out, and eventually, Amasis was still injured at this point, so Ophidian still was doing a lot of the work. He ended up getting the pin on Silver Ant with a bridging backslide. Does an ordinary backslide and then uses his flexible body to basically bend over with a bridge to add more leverage. That gave the Portal 3 points. So they were in contention for the titles right there. Then the next team was Damien Dunn and Pete Dunn from Team UK. I'm sorry to say I don't know which of the Dunns is which. Amasis eventually made it back to his feet, and he caught the little Dunn with a 450 splash. And so now the Portal had 4 points. The last team in the gauntlet was the Wrecking Crew, Oleg the Usurper and Jaka, led by Sidney Bacabella. And the Portal was completely exhausted by this point, and it showed. And no point more obvious than when Jaka and Oleg were on the outside. The Portal winds up to go for a running dive, and they just collapse. Even so, they still didn't go down. And John Barber, the referee, was unfortunately very unpopular with the fans, got taken out by mistake. Bryce tried to make it into the ring to count a pin for the Portal. Didn't quite make it in time. Eventually, while Bryce is busy checking on Barber, Bacabella hops up on the apron with a roll of nickels in his hand, and he smacks Ophidian in the face with it, knocks out Ophidian to give the Wrecking Crew the win. So the Wrecking Crew wins the tag gauntlet, and they have 1 point. As I know it was a roll of nickels, we just saw coins go flying, but I saw a tweet from Bacabella shortly thereafter where he said the best $2 he ever spent. So then we had intermission. When we came back, we had Atomico's action, the Submission Squad, Pistol Danger, Evangelistico, Elegant Assassin, Pierre Abernathy, Brainwave Davey Vega, and Gary the Barn Owl. They had an open challenge for a 4-on-4 action. We didn't know who their opponents would be. There was a lot of speculation. It might be the Flood, might be some random assortment of guys. What we got was a great match because their opponents were the Gentleman's Club. Chuck Taylor, Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy, Drew Gulak, and the Swamp Monster. And as soon as Chuck Taylor comes out and then we see Cassidy and then Gulak, the crowd lost its mind because the Gentleman's Club is extremely popular, even though what they do isn't always family friendly. They're not often seen on Chikara shows. They were extremely popular. It was just a hilarious match throughout the whole thing. Gary and Barn Owl, Gary the Barn Owl, and the Swamp Monster, became friends and were just sort of watching from a separate corner. They ended up in the ring together. They did high fives, did a chest bump, and then they turned on everybody else. Bryce, the referee, started doing some comedy spots along with them. It was just a hilarious match. Chuck Taylor even brought back the invisible grenade. But in the end, the submission squad hit Swampy with a flurry of finishers: a Stone Cold Stunner, a Rock Bottom, a Hogan Atomic Leg Drop, and an Ultimate Warrior running splash. That gave the submission squad the win. So it was, if nothing else, you should definitely check out that match. Uh, then we had the Rate of Voladores finals between the Great Sonata and Shinron. Now, once again, Sonata was playing the heel. He One of the things that he'd been doing this weekend is he unwrapped tape from his wrist and then used it to choke his opponents. Barber was the referee in his match on night 2 and missed all of those antics completely. But this tonight, when he tried to do the same thing to Shinron, he said, I know what you're doing. Basically showed that he learned from his previous mistakes. So the crowd forgave him slightly. But in the end, Shinron took red mist to the face and then a super kick, but he still kicked out, and he ended up hitting Sonata with the backflip cutter and then the second rope 630 senton to give him the Rate of Voladores championship. And he got some "You Deserve a Chance," and I highly agree. Shinron is going to be a very big name on the Indies once he starts getting a little bit more attention. This might be what does it for him. And then we had the King of Trios finals, Devastation Corporation and the Golden Trio. It was an absolute war. The Devastation Corporation was using every tactic they had. The Golden Trio was pulling out all the stops. Icarus brought back a Fist's old Shooty McGee triple team maneuver, which wasn't enough to put away Flex Rumble Crunch. And eventually, Icarus became the first person, to my mind, to kick out of the death blow. Everyone was shocked by it. Bacabella was shocked by it, but it still wasn't enough. Dasher Hatfield ended up taking a TKO from Rumble Crunch and then the death blow. Devastation Corporation is your 2014 King of Trios champions. After the match, the Flood came out en masse. No Deucalion, but the Flood comes out. They surround the ring. They lay out the Golden Trio, and especially Icarus. And while they're standing tall, the rest of Chikara's locker room empties out. There was the Envoy, the Batiri, 3.0, and Archibald Peck. Everybody came out. No Kid Cyclone, but everybody else came out and was attacking the Flood, but it wasn't enough. Eddie Kingston saw them coming and basically played roadblock, started taking them out on the stage, throwing guys left and right to the rest of the Flood. And then, the Flood stands in the ring, Jacobs and Kingston, and Jacobs gets on the microphone and tells Icarus to hand over the Grand Championship, or they'll destroy what's left of Chikara. And Icarus looked at the belt, and he was very clearly torn with what to do. But then he hands over the belt. But he takes the microphone and he tells Kingston the belt would be worthless. The Grand Championship of Chikara would be worthless if there was no Chikara. And he asked Kingston, do you want to be worthy of that belt, or would you rather be the King of Ashes? And there was that pause as Jacobs is busy telling Kingston to ignore him, that they got they got it, they can go. And then Kingston lays out Jacobs and he turns on the Flood. Chikara fights back. They send the Flood packing, and Kingston and Icarus. Kingston hands the belt back over to Icarus, and Icarus tells him, "We'll do this again," and Kingston just tells him, "Keep it warm." Chikara does a big group hug in the middle of the ring, and that's the end of your 2014 King of Trios. And that concludes my recap. It was a great show. All 3 nights were great. I highly recommend getting them. They are all available on Smart Mark Video. I know nights 1 and 2 are already available Night 2 may still just be a live edit, but they should have the high quality edit finished soon. Night 3 will probably be available tomorrow, so I highly recommend you purchase them. I will see you for another recap. I don't know when. Maybe it'll be here on my channel. Maybe it'll be on Tom's channel, Dark Side of the Nerd. In any case, I'm the notorious J2K Winger, and I will see you another time. Bye.